Girl, they lied to you so bad. They sold you this idea that luck is just this random event that happens to random people. And because you actually believe this, you're just sitting around waiting for it to be your turn. But girl, it will never be your turn. You have to create your own luck. Luck is a created thing. That's why I'm creating this video today, because I want to share with you 3 laws or principles, whatever you want to call them, that's going to help you to be the luckiest girl that you know. By the way, I'm Tabia. Let's get into law number 1. Actually, before I get into law number 1, it's important that we're on the same page, girl, when I'm talking about luck. What I'm not talking about is going outside and randomly find $10 and $5. If that's your definition of luck, girl, all you got to do is just go out very often and pay attention to detail, like walk around paying attention to what's going on. But in this economy, good luck with that. That's not what this video is about. This video is going to be about something way more powerful than that. It's going to be about how do we attract opportunities to ourselves in abundance? How do we get to the point where when we write down a goal, it's almost like we wrote it with a magic pen because it actually happens. I'm talking about how do you constantly end up in favorable positions in life? How do we make this life thing happen? How do we make this success thing happen, right? How do we create our own luck again and again and again and again? That is what this video is about. So yeah, now we can go into law number 1. So the first principle I'm going to share with you that's going to help you to be the luckiest girl that you know is the law of probability. So what probability means, it is the likelihood that something will happen. Now, the law of probability is this law that works with numbers. Let me explain. Let's say you are a business owner, and this is not a business video, okay? Just an example. Let's say you're a business owner. In business, there is this probability law that says the first time someone sees your product, they're not likely to buy. But if they see it 7 times, that's when a purchase is most likely to occur. So you didn't change the product, you didn't change the benefits, you didn't change business, and it's the same exact person you're promoting to. But when you do it for 7 times, it's almost like you tap into some magic because this time the person actually purchase. That's the law of probability working. When someone sees your product for the first time, the chances that they will buy from you is around 2%, but once they see it 7 times, it increases to about 20%. So this is what the law of probability is. You are more likely to get lucky if you give yourself more chances. Now let me use an example or a scenario that everyone can relate to. So let's say I go to you and your best friend and I hold up $500 and I say to you guys, well, if one of you shoot this basketball into the hoop, I will give you this $500. Now let's say I change the probability, right? So I said, you, that's you now. I said to you, I'll give you just 1 shot. You got to do it in 1 try. But then I turned to your bestie and I said, girl, I'm giving you like 500 shots and you only got to do it once and you get the $500. Who is likely to get the $500? The person that got the most tries. The law of probability is going to work in this person's favor because they're doing more numbers. They have more shots. They have more tries, right? You see how that feeling that came over you when I said I'll only give you 1 try and give someone else 500? The way how you felt, that is what you're doing to yourself right now. Many times when you're pursuing your goals, you're marketing your business, you're posting content, you're not giving yourself a lot of tries before you quit. You do something 5 times and you quit. Why not give yourself 100 tries? Why not give yourself 50 tries? Why not give yourself even 500 tries, right? You look at me like I have 2 heads, but if I was to use the same scenario just now and say this person get 500 tries and you only get 1 try, you feel robbed. And that is how you're robbing yourself on a day-to-day basis when you only give yourself 1 try with everything that you do. So when you send out that 1 job application, remember that you're only giving yourself 1 try, right? Why not send 50? Why not send 20? But sometimes we're a bit lazy. We don't want to do it. So we will write down these big audacious goals like I want to make $100,000, but we don't want to post 100 times to promote our business. So the law of probability cannot work for us when we're being very stingy with how often we do something. You wrote down that you want to be married in 2 years, but you go on 1 date per year. What is the probability? What is the chances? What is the likelihood that you're actually going to meet this man? The likelihood of that happening is very, very slim because you're not going on dates. So I'm not saying go be promiscuous. Dating is not sleeping around. Don't get it twisted. I'm just encouraging you, sis. You want to be more lucky, you want more chances for good things to happen, then do more. Don't be weary by the fact that you have to do more to achieve more, right? You create more luck for yourself the more chances you give yourself. So give yourself more chances. Now we're moving on to law number 2, which is the law of preparation. Now I know you have seen this quote almost everywhere. The one that says, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And it is not a lie. A lot of opportunities are being lost every single day just because someone did not prepare. And preparation comes in many different forms, from small preparations to big preparations, right? Okay, let me show you what I mean. Let's say you got invited to go to a networking event. Now, wisdom would tell you at a networking event, depending on the caliber of networking event, there are going to be people with different levels of success, right? You're going to have the beginners, you're going to have the people who has been doing it for a while and have some success. You're going to have the really successful people that's also going to be there. First thing is you show up, you don't even look like you belong into the room, right? You ever heard someone say dress how you want to be addressed? You didn't even dress how you want to be addressed. You want to be taken seriously, and you come to the event like you don't even take it seriously. You come there, you show up anyhow, you're not asking any questions, you're not participating in the event. No one heard you speak what you want people in the room to notice you and give you opportunities. You are there, you didn't carry any, like, you know, those scannable barcodes that you can put on your phone and someone can scan it with their phone and all your social media comes up. You didn't even have one of those. You don't have a business card. Let's say you did end up making a connection and the person said, okay, you're talking about your product. You said it's the best thing since sliced bread. Okay, can I see your product or a sample of your product? You didn't even walk with a sample of your product and you know you're going to a networking event. Like, sis, are you lost? Are you even in the right room? This is some small ways how unpreparedness shows up in our lives, right? Like this guy, he was sharing his story, how, you know, when he was much younger and he was trying to make a name for himself, he would never carry himself like his situation. A lot of us, sometimes we do be looking like our situation. So he was talking about how one of his friends made this connection for him. And when he met the guy was like, oh, I'm gonna give you this much $1 million to invest in your idea because I like to do business with fellow rich men. Who was rich? Yeah, so the guy was looking at the way he carried himself, the way he talked, the way he was prepared to have a conversation around his idea. The guy was like, yeah, you're one of us. I want to help you because, you know, you're one of us. You're like me. But that wasn't the case. But because he was prepared, that opportunity ended up landing on him. So I want you to think about everything, you know, the opportunities that you know is going to happen. Like, you know, you're going to go somewhere. You know that you're going to be asked to make this presentation. You know, you're going to have a job interview. Pay attention to how you carry yourself. Prepare. You have a job interview, you don't know the mission statement of the company, you don't know their values, you don't even know the title of the position that you're applying for, you know nothing. And you show up to the interview and you say, that lady was racist, oh, they didn't like me. Sis, could it be, honestly, could it be that you weren't as prepared as someone else? If it wasn't politics and they gave the job to their friend or whatever, but could it be that you were not prepared? I once heard this guy was saying that a man is going to say that his wife that was 9 months pregnant is going into labor, and he was like, it happened unexpectedly, like he wasn't prepared. And the guy was like, what do you mean? You had a 9 months notice. You knew she was pregnant for 9 months. What do you mean it happened suddenly? You had a 9 months notice. And it's the same thing, guys. When you have a goal, when you have a dream, the moment you realize that you're pregnant with an idea, pregnant with a vision, you need to start preparing, right? Imagine this. You want to be an artist, you go somewhere, and while you're in line, you were being friendly, you were talking to someone, you found out this is Taylor Swift's manager, and he said, okay, send me one of your songs. Oh, I don't have any songs recorded. And he said, okay, no problem, come tomorrow and sing me one of your songs in person at my office. Here's my number. And you turn around and you said, actually, I was writing this song for 5 years, but it's not done, you know, I'm still working on it. You know what he's gonna say? Okay, call me when you're ready. Okay, call me when you're ready. And guess what? When you're calling, he's not gonna answer your call because you're not serious, you're not prepared. Okay, successful people don't have time for people that seems like, you know, there's no intensity. Like, you should be ready. It's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Okay, let's move on to law number 3. So now we're in law number 3. And here's the thing, sis, let me be real. There are times when you will do all the right thing. You follow the laws of success, the laws of luck, relationship, you strategize, you plan, you showed up, you did everything right, and you still end up empty handed. And another side to this is that sometimes no matter how hard you work, someone else is going to work harder than you. No matter how much you prepare, someone else is still gonna end up being more prepared than you. Sometimes no matter how much you study, someone else is going to study more. So the point I'm making is that sometimes you have to take it a step further. Sometimes it's not that you even did what you were supposed to do. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. You missed the deadlines. You weren't working hard. You wasted years. You wasted time. You procrastinate. You lazy around. You don't do what you're supposed to do, right? You messed up big time. And that is where this law is going to come in to ensure that you can still end up successful in life. And so law number 3 is to access divine help. When I say access divine help, I'm talking about accessing help from God. So I know, sis, you probably don't even believe in all this, right? But guess what? If you've enjoyed the video so far, you might as well stay until the end, okay? Just be a butterfly on the wall and listen to what I'm about to say. For curiosity purposes, I was going to say fly on the wall, but ain't no flies here. Fly only follow garbage, okay? You're a butterfly, okay? So be a butterfly on the wall and just listen. Now, when it comes to God, you cannot describe or explain a supernatural being with logics. So let me do it the best way I could describe or try to communicate to you what I'm talking about. When you're trying in the natural and it's not working, or it's overwhelming, or it's too big for you, take it to another realm. This is what I mean. So one day I was working on this project and I ran out of money. So I started to pray. I was like, God, I don't believe you brought me this far into the journey to abandon me. Like, you've helped me up until this point. Like, please don't tell me this is where it's all gonna fall apart. I don't believe you brought me here to leave me. And I was praying about it. After I finished praying, I'm like, okay, it's gonna take maybe like 2 weeks and something will shake, maybe, something will happen and I'll end up having the money. That same day, someone called me and they gave me the money that I needed to finish the project. And on top of that, when I went to complete the purchases that I needed, I got more than a 50% discount. Same day. This isn't not even 2 hours after I made the prayer, I got the help that I was asking for, right? I didn't ask this person for money. I wasn't advertising my problem, but unexpectedly, this person called me and gave me a decent amount of money. Okay. So that's one scenario. So another time I was praying, right? And I saw this family came up before me. And as I'm looking at them, I could sense I'm not supposed to be praying for this one or this one. And I zoomed in on this girl. She's a younger girl than me. And I was like, okay, it's her. So as I started to pray, I'm hearing some things. I'm saying some things about her, for her. And in the midst of that, I heard in my heart, like, to give her X amount of money. I'm like, okay, that's not God. That's surely not God. And then I heard again, like, my voice, give that money to her. So I was like, okay, I wrap up the prayer. I started to hunt this girl down. I'm trying to get her contact information or bank information to send her the money. After I got everything I needed, I sent it to her and I called her and I was like, I know this might sound a little bit weird, but if mother and father leaves you and forsake you, God will not leave you nor forsake you, because those were the things I was saying while I was praying. She burst out in tears and started to cry. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, did I say something? And she started to explain that it was her birthday just like a few days ago, and she called her dad and asked him for money, the same amount of money that I gave her. That exact amount of money I gave her, that was what she asked her dad for. And he was getting upset. He cursed her out. He's gonna be done with her, cut her off. He's not giving her anything. And then the mom as well was being they were just rejecting her. Rejection is the word I'm looking for. And that was what was happening with her. So this was happening to her, and God cared enough to put her on someone's heart, and the exact money that she wanted, he got me to give it to her. And there's times when I'm the recipient of this as well. I know you're probably sitting there like, what? People hunt people down to give them money? What? I thought it was only people that are begging that seem to be in urgency to beg, or desperate. People are desperate to give people things. Yes, that is what happens when you have access to divine help. That's what happens when you have a relationship with God. So I cannot talk about luck without mentioning God, because I would have been evil to you, because I know what works for me. You see, let me give you just one last story before I wrap this up, right? So there was this time I had this situation that came up, financial situation. I'm talking thousands of dollars, and I was already overwhelmed with other things that I had to be dealing with financially at that time. So when that expense just dropped boop in my lap, I was like, okay, not again. I broke down. I started to cry when I get home. My black mascara was just running all over my face. And not to be one of those people, I'm going to say something that could get me judged, but I don't care. I took a picture off myself in that moment because I was like, I know a testimony is going to come after this. It's not for social media. It wasn't for me to post and gain sympathy points. I was just like, okay, if God allowed this to happen, he must have a way for me to get out of this situation. So I took the picture as like faith, I would say, as faith. I might show you guys the pictures, but that wasn't supposed to see the light of day. It's for me to remember. I don't think I'll show you guys the picture because I looked a hot mess, okay? The mascara on my face, it's an ugly crying picture. And I took that for myself. I don't normally do this, so don't judge me. But I'm telling you, it was for a spiritual reason why I took the picture, because I'm like, I'm taking this picture because I want to remember this day and the fact that God will help me. So anyways, to make a long story short, about 3 months later, I remember I got like super overwhelmed because the problem was still there. I went to God again. I'm like, okay, Papa, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. I'm feeling overwhelmed. This is turning into depression. This thing is not going away. Please help me. So after that, 2 people gave me thousands of dollars that completely paid this thing I needed to get done, right? I didn't ask them. I didn't set up a GoFundMe. I didn't harass people. None of that. You see, that's the thing when you have access to God's help, when you have intimacy with God, he prioritizes helping you. Sometimes the help doesn't come immediate, like the time when I got it the same day. Sometimes it's like months later. I don't know how quick he will help you. That's what I'm saying. So you can't just run up on God now and say, oh, this Tabia girl, tell me that you help her to be lucky, make me lucky, and give me money too. Like, I don't know how he works with everyone. But I'm saying from a personal experience standpoint, that is what happened with me. So let me tell you something. Hard work isn't always going to do it. All of us have worked hard at some point, right? All of us have studied hard at one point and we still didn't get the results that we want. And that is why I believe that having God, having a relationship with God, building intimacy with him is such an advantage. You will end up getting things, meeting people that there's no way it could be a coincidence. There's no way, the timing, everything, there's just no way. So I'm just telling you what works for me. You don't got to do what I do. You don't got to believe what I believe, but I'm telling you, when I am in a situation where I burnt myself out in the natural, I turn to the supernatural. I turn to God and he is yet to fail me. He has not failed me yet. And I hope you notice I didn't just say God. I said intimacy with God, meaning try to have a relationship. Don't try to use him. Okay, please. So I just want to quickly make this disclaimer. Okay, prayer and your relationship with God is not a career. Okay, you don't sit around waiting for God to give you money and give you things. God is intervention. So you don't sit down and plan to live off of miracle signs and wonders, right? You do what you're supposed to do the best you can. You make use of all the principles and all the things you're learning here on YouTube and in books and at school. But at the same time, you have to leave room for God to do his thing as well. So yeah, bye.